Hi, everybody. Dan Illman along with Matt Bernier. The DRF Bets race of the day for Thursday, February the 22nd, race number 7 at Oaklawn Park. It's a maiden special weight for 3-year-old fillies. If you're playing from home, please sign up to DRF Bets. You'll be rewarded with a $200 free bet. No deposit required. Just head on over to drf.com/join and use the promo code FREEBET09. Let's take a look at this field. Again, 3-year-old filly maidens going 6 furlongs for $78,000. Free formulator past performances for this race available on the Race of the Day event page on drf.com. Download them, handicap along with us. We'll take the field in post position order, and the number 1 She Beast. Big pedigree. You got to expect this filly's going to take some money first out.
Big pedigree. She's a half to the Big Beast, who won the King's Bishop as a 3-year-old. Now it's the Alan Jerkins. He went on to finish second in the 4 going the Vanderbilt. As an older horse, she's by the factor. The factor's only about 9% with the first-time starters. They paid $350,000 for her. Look, Ron Moquette, I think at face value, people don't associate him with first-time starters that go out fire fresh out of the box. Past 2 years, first-time starters at Oaklawn, he's 3 for 18, so it's not a terrible number. You know she's going to get bet in here. That inside draw is no bargain for a first-time starter. Those are the reasons I picked her second and didn't go with her on top.
But boy, she's got the pedigree. She's got that bullet workout on February the 3rd. She's going to have to break from the inside post. That could be sort of a tricky place for a first-time starter, but you mentioned the Big Beast. There's also a stakes place dirt router named Koh-i-Noor. The dam was stakes place sprinting. She won her career debut. She Beast, you're right. She's going to take some money in this spot. Now, she sold for $350,000 as a weanling, was bought back for $685,000 as a yearling. The number 2 Non-Helma was sold for $2,000 as a yearling. Non-Helma goes out for trainer Phil Simms, a Majestic Warrior, about 9% with older debut runners. I kind of like Non-Helma's work pattern a little bit, and we'll get to that in a second. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I mean, she's interesting in here. Majestic Warrior, 11.5% with the first-time starters. This one's a half to a horse called Restless Rambler, who was 9 for 12 on dirt and sprinting races. You also go a little bit farther back in the dam side. You've got the likes of Pearl City. You've got Hennessy. So there's plenty of pedigree here. The only thing that kept me a little bit chilly about her, Phil Simms, who I think does a very, very good job, underappreciated. Past 5 years, first-time starters in maiden special weight races, 1 for 46 with a 161 ROI. The reason the ROI is as large as it is, the winner was 36-1. I can't imagine this filly being 36-1, but I'm more interested in seeing what we get second time out.
I do like the fact we have 3 consecutive 5-furlong workouts leading up to this race, and a couple of her workouts match a horse named Yankton, a horse that Phil Simms debuted on Monday at 30-1 on the President's Day card. It was a maiden special weight, and the horse ran 3rd with a 75 buyer. Now, I don't think Non-Helma is going to run a 75 buyer speed figure. She won't need to win this race, but I have a feeling she might outrun her odds, and I think her odds are going to drift. I think 7-2 is a little bit light on Non-Helma. The 3 is Tahoe Dream, and of the horses that have raced, Tahoe Dream is the one to beat. She had significant trouble last time.
Yeah, you know, she was a little bit late with the lead change, but she was in tight between horses. She was forced to steady. Eventually, she was put up to second via disqualification. I'm going to use it in the best and the most positive way. It was an inoffensive effort to me. I don't think she did anything spectacular, but I also don't think she was bad. I like that she was coming on a little bit. It felt like the pace for the most part held up. The problem is the 59 buyer. I think she's going to need to move forward, because I've got to imagine if it's not the 1 or the 2, it's somebody else that's going to jump up and run something. I would imagine a mid-60 it'll take to win this race. No reason to think that she can't move forward second off the layoff, but she's going to have to.
Her dam was a multiple stakes winner sprinting on the dirt. There's a little bit of pedigree. You mentioned that last race. Troubled in the first start off of a long layoff. I'm a little concerned she hasn't shown a lot of speed in her career, and that leads us to our time form U.S. pace projector. Hard to make a pace projector in races with first-time starters. You got to think that if She Beast runs to her pedigree, she's going to show some speed. But of the horses that have raced, the 4-3 Halos is likely to be forwardly placed, as she was at a big price in her career debut. She's a 3-quarter sister to Cinco Charlie, who was a graded stakes winning dirt sprinter. Her dam was a multiple stakes placed dirt sprinter. It's probably too early to give up on 3 Halos off of one dismal performance. This barn, though, does well usually at Prairie Meadows in the spring, not usually at Oaklawn in the winter.
Yeah, I have to be honest with you. I think she's an interesting one. I don't know if this is the spot for her, but like you say, once we get back a little bit farther north in the Midwest, I think there's a scenario where she could turn into a useful one. You mentioned the 3/4 of Cinco Charlie. We were familiar with what he was capable of on his best day. Look, discount anyone with big speed at your own risk. because especially in a race filled with some first-time starters, maybe this turns into a bit of a race where it's come and catch me. I think there's a scenario where she can clear off to the front, even with the presence of some other big speed on the outside.
And she does have a good positive formulator fact in her corner. Here's Doug Anderson's fact, the 4-3 Halos, past 5 years, second time starting 3-year-old maiden special weight dirt sprinters, 27%, almost a $3.90 ROI. The 5 not in the mood for that, a horse coming off a little bit of a layoff. This is an Illinois bred who popped and stopped in her career debut at Hawthorne, but a second-time starter getting Lasix. Maybe she'll show similar speed and hook up with 3 Halos, or a first-time starter. Maybe she sets things up for somebody else.
She showed giant speed in that debut. That was all the way back in October. She's had some time off. She gets Lasix. You're going to have to hope that she moves forward. And if you are a fan of the 4-3 Halos, you're going to have to hope that the 5 leaves you alone early.
Party Club, the 6 goes out for Wayne Lucas. This horse I thought ran okay in her career debut at Ellis Park way back in July. The problem is it's been 7 starts since then. She really hasn't gotten substantially better, but it's her 3rd start of the form cycle, and if there is a big pace up front, maybe she's the one to come running late.
No, the coach is heating up at this point, isn't he? She's just the kind of filly where I look at it at 0 for 8. Where am I seeing that big forward move coming? I think at this point I kind of know what she is. I'd be surprised if a 62 was good enough to win.
Now, Tahoe Dream finished ahead of a couple of these horses in a common maiden race. If you didn't like that race, or you like Tahoe Dream coming out of that race, maybe Eternal Bling is sort of the alternative. She was not in that spot. The winner of that race, Typhosh, is a fairly promising Doug O'Neill trained runner that was a big favorite in that race. Eternal Bling just fell far out the back door in that race, swung to the outside, turning into the stretch, picked up a couple of tired ones, but as a full sister to Texas Bling, it was a nice middle distance horse. Maybe Eternal Bling can improve for Luis Quinones.
Yes, certainly, and also a full to everything Bling, who was another nice stakes winner in her own right. This is an interesting filly because if you believe it, I understand she was 6th and she was beaten by more than 10. If you believe the buyer and you believe the time form numbers, you could make the case that she's going to completely get overlooked, but she might be the fastest horse in the race, which is one of those rare instances where you've got a real opportunity to get paid. I know Andy Byers probably licking his chops. I think she's an interesting runner in here. I wouldn't throw her out at all.
Banshee Birdie is the number 8, $60,000 yearling by Birdstone. Not surprisingly, Birdstone's first-time starters do better as older horses than as 2-year-olds, about 11% with older debut runners. This horse is a half-sister to a stakes-place dirt sprinter, going out for Lon Wiggins. I gotta see a race before I commit with my money.
Yeah, Lon Wiggins, past 5 years, dirt, first-time starter, 1 for 19 with a 46-cent ROI. You brought up the half to Cosmic Evolution. I think this is an interesting horse. They paid 64 in Keeneland September of 16. I just don't know if I want her first out of the box.
Tracy's Greeley, the 9, completes this field. The dam was a stakes-place turf router. I do like the buyer improvement that we've seen from Tracy's Greeley recently. 3rd start of the form cycle. Probably a trouble-free outside trip coming. I wouldn't be surprised if she's a little bit closer to the pace.
Yeah, I would agree with that. You're going to have to hope that by the time this race is run, the track is significantly different than it was Monday, because Monday, if you were on the inside, right, you might as well put a ring around you. She's going to be about as far away from that as possible, but I agree with you that upward sort of progression from the buyer's standpoint, there's no reason to think maybe she gets up into that low to mid 60 and at least threatens.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Thursday DRF Bets race of the day. We expect She Beast to take a good amount of money. You're going with the very logical number 3, Tahoe Dream. Lots of handicapping angles. She's 5-2 on the morning line, but it's possible if they bet this pedigree with She Beast, Tahoe Dream will not be the favorite.
Yeah, you know what? And I don't know that I would want anything less than 5-2. If she goes off at 2-1, then I'll probably punt. But if she's in that 3-1 range, because the inside horse She Beast takes some money, I'll take a shot with her. I went 3-1-2.
You scared me with that formulator fact about Phil Simms on the 2 non-Helma, but I think she drifts off that 7-2 morning line. There's enough in that work pattern that makes me think I'd like to take a flyer with her. I'm not completely convinced with the horses that have raced, so I'm going to go 2, 3, 7, and 9. Non-Helma will be my top pick. I also like your horse, the 3, Tahoe Dream. If you're playing from home, please consider DRF Bets. Great deal available for new DRF Bets subscribers. A $200 free bet, no deposit required when you go to drf.com/join and use the promo code FREEBET09. Approximate post time for race number 7 at Oaklawn on Thursday is 4:14 Central. Good luck.